Hey, my lovely ladies, thank you so much for coming back and joining me. I really appreciate it. So today I want to help shift you on your path and your shoes, going your own way, by talking about how to control your state even more. Like we've already talked about triggers, we've talked about, the VACOG clogs, we've talked about, touched on the parrot shoes, and then being in, state shoes. So it's, further controlling state shoes, how to control your state rather than controlling the state. Different shoes. You don't want to be doing that pair. Effectively your own personal state. How do we manage that better? So I'm going to give you just a few sort of tips and ideas, and there are some things that you can also look up on the web that I'm making reference to. Please understand that, like, I don't endorse specific products or services or anything like that. I don't get any payment for any of any sort of ideas that I put forward at all. There's no commission, kickbacks, nothing. This is literally things that I know that have worked for me and for other people, and that I know will make a difference to you should you choose and are brave enough to implement them. So it's what you do with this information is entirely obviously up to you. So the state changes that I'm going to talk about today are briefly, I'm going to start off with breathing, your breathing techniques. So look, this is so critical. It really ties in, I was talking a lot about the physiological changes in the state shoes. The state shoes are all about, it's really big with Tony Robbins. He talks about how the physiological changes are really key. The Peter Levines of the world, like with somatic experiencing, understand that there's a lot of trauma that gets locked up in the body. The Richard Dykes of the world is another one with, and Vessel van der Walt is another one that talks about how, as humans, we've evolved to a certain point, but unlike the more primitive, less evolved species, animals that we actually have, we have less of a tendency to be able to de-stress and let go of how we're actually feeling within our bodies ourselves. So what I want to talk about is just the importance of breathing in that component, because that is really, really key. Not only are you physically needing to move your body and change your body so that you're not in a depressed state or whatever, you want to get into that more positive sort of state, breathing is absolutely key. It is like another top thing that often is overlooked. People think it's too simple, so they dismiss it. And really it's quite the opposite. You really want to be looking at, it's the simple things that make the biggest shift sometimes. That's how I look at it. And look, if it works, just do it. There's actually a guy who struggled a lot with depression here. I forget his name, and he does a lot of work with the police force, and he used to help suicide victims, people who were looking to literally throw themselves off a bridge or whatever. He was the crisis management officer, like the main guy that they would call to intervene, to try and stop them from doing that, to get them off the bridge, to get them to a place where they're more safe and that they can actually address their issues and get the help that they needed. And one of the key things that he talks about is that not only would he first of all make eye contact, but he would get them to breathe. And breathing is just so important. He said it's so underrated, it's not funny. And also if you know, what's her name, Dr. Libby, her name is, she's quite well known here in New Zealand. She talks a lot about this with her, what's her book called? I think, now, I'm not, again, I'm not getting any kickbacks or anything. I think it's called Rushing Woman Syndrome, that she was really quite well known for. And it was like how there's like, we're so busy and so rushed as ladies that we're just, go. We're on cortisol overload, and then we have burnout because our adrenals literally crash and burn. We're just not designed to sustainably be in that high drive, high driven run kind of mode on an ongoing basis. And when you're in that state, in high adrenaline mode, you are literally breathing a lot faster. You go at a much higher pace. You're very shallow breathing. It's all in the upper chest quite often. So what you want to actually be looking at doing is how to actually calm that down, and that literally is conscious breath. What I call conscious breath. Maybe there's other practitioners out there who call it the same, you know, with their exercising. But I like to have it where you are consciously aware of how your breathing is, where it is in your body. And it literally is, as Dr. Libby was saying, is that the one thing that kicks in your parasympathetic system, which is the calming, soothing, relaxing system. So you have your sympathetic nervous system and your parasympathetic, and your sympathetic is all the flight, fight, and run, and then your parasympathetic is rest and digest and procreate and be calm and regenerate. That's the place. So if there's an imbalance, you gotta pull those guys up, into balance, and then ideally be predominantly in a place where you're in a place of calm rather than that place of overdrive and panic and adrenaline and cortisol overproducing. So when breathing, according to Dr. Libby in her book, Libby, Libby, it's your diaphragm, which sits just underneath for those who don't know, just underneath your lungs. And when you breathe in, it sucks up like this. And then you push it down with force breath, like slow breathing out. Okay. And then you breathe in, and it's belly breathing. So a lot of people might go, and you can feel it, and you can put your hands on your chest even here like this. Okay, just breathe in, and you can feel the chest going up, okay, but not the tummy. So put one hand on your tummy and your stomach and one hand on your chest like this, and then just see if you can actually have it where it's your belly that's raising first and then your chest. So you breathe in through your nose, down into your belly, up into your chest. Okay, and now you breathe out slowly. From your chest right down. Sorry, I've got some guys who've just parked next to me, and they've been curious about what's going on. All right, so let's try that again. Okay, breathe in into the belly. Can you really feel that diaphragm going and out? And you really want to get that diaphragm going like this, okay? Okay, and again. Okay, so just have it where that motion of the diaphragm, according to Dr. Libby, is the main, if she claims it's the only thing. I'm not too sure if that's entirely true. I don't know. I haven't researched it. Maybe you can if you want to. But it's that whole movement, up and down movement of the diaphragm that kicks in your parasympathetic system. And it gets you out of that tunnel vision, the inability to see options, the inability to think that there is a way out of this, that panic mode, that it's only getting, it's all doom and gloom. When you can start opening those blinders, the breath just seems to open all of that up. And if you do that for 2 or 3 minutes consistently, counting, thinking about something else, you can use counting as a way to actually get on top of that. And one of the things I would suggest is I'm going to be selling, it's really cost effective, through the site once it's actually finished, as part of your essential emotional toolkit. I'm going to be selling this, 2 more techniques that you can actually use that will help shift this. So this is just one way, but there's 2 little quick exercises that you can use anywhere at any time, which is the whole idea of the emotional toolkit, is that, or emotional toolkit handbag, whatever you want to call it, where that, you've got an essential lot of tools that are going to get you out of sadness, depression, anger, like that, you know. It's like you can, as I have always been saying, it's like, you know, the toolkit that you have for your car. If your engine isn't working correctly, you can open the bonnet, go, right, that's not working, the radiator has run out of water, so we're going to fill it up with water, you know. So you go into your toolkit and you get out the water can, or it might be that you need to adjust the alternator, so you need your spanner. That toolkit is what you can now take with you in your Gucci handbag, wherever it is, your mental one. You know, oh, Vicki Jane's taught me how to do this. I've got 3 ones to help me with stress and overwhelm and depression. I've got breathing techniques to help me change my state. You know, there's 2 of them that I include in that. It's going to be totally cost effective, and it just helps me to be able to do more of these videos. So all your support would be greatly appreciated. And this is something that you can also use with other people, with your kids, with your family members, with your friends. You know, once you've learned this is something that empowers you to be the best that you could possibly be, to be on top of your emotions if they run away with you. If you are so stressed you don't know how to get out of it, if you are feeling so depressed you can't handle it, then, you know, that's rubbish. I can show you that there. Look at your toolkit and then pick out the tools that you actually need. But all of this stuff helps prep you to go, right, this and this is happening. I've identified this is what's triggering me. I now understand that I'm in a negative state. What am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? I know what set me off. I know this is how I understand myself now well enough to know that this is how I respond. I've got to break my state. I can do it like this, bonk, bonk, bonk. And you can literally have, you know, a handful of techniques and tools combined with your awareness that are going to get you shifted into a new pair of shoes that are going to be more empowering, and where you're going to be feeling happier and more and in more control. So please do hop over and do that. Now I'm just conscious of time, so I'll talk about another thing that you could possibly do as well for state changes. Eating is another one, but there's an upside and a downside to this, eating and drinking actually. People often use drinking or eating in a negative way. It's to stuff the hole. You know, they're looking outside of themselves in order to change their state. And that's really what eating and drinking is all about. And, you know, other addictions too. It's just like, I want to change the way I feel, you know, I want to change my state because I'm not happy with where I'm at. You know, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling too stressed out, I'm feeling unhappy or sad, or there's too much pain from my past, whatever it is, and we stuff that hole with whatever the state change thing is that works best for you. So, you know, it might be eating that is one of them. So where we want to be conscious of that is I didn't know that I had my eating shoes on, my overeating shoes on, or my over drinking shoes on, or whatever. They are not a great pair of shoes to be wearing, because you can land up feeling worse than what you started when you actually began, which is so common with that, you know, especially if you're, you know, it's like I've spoken about, you know, drugs and that sort of thing. It's like, you know, you got it down, you know, you go up like that, but oh my gosh, when you come down, you hit your bottom out, and you can be at the bottom there for some time before you start climbing up again. And most people then need to feel they need to have another hit or whatever to try and get them back up to where they are. And it's like this roller coaster ride. So those pairs of shoes are, you know, the eating shoes, the over drinking shoes, it's not great, you know. It's gonna, you know, you have a hangover for days, and, you know, you're ratty because, you know, you feel like crap. You're overeating, you start berating yourself, you know. It's like, I feel crap, you know, I've got to start losing weight, and I've done it again. And then there's your parrot shoes, you've got your parrot shoes back on, and it's like, you know, self-deprivation. Then you go into starving mode, whatever the case may be. So where we want to have a healthy pair of state changing shoes with regards to eating and drinking is making healthier choices. So be aware that, oh look, I would normally have put my overeating shoes on, or my over drinking shoes on, or, you know, eating lots of chocolate, for example, or I don't know what it is. You'll know what it is for you. How can you now change it where it's to, you know what, I'm going to change it to a smoothie. And what will happen is, you know, if you do that enough, if you wear your smoothie shoes now, your good eating shoes, I opt to love myself enough that I'm actually going to put these shoes on and nurture my body healthily so that I can now sustain. And what happens is your blood sugar levels go up. They plateau at a healthy level. You might have a drop off, but it'll be very little, as opposed to this whole big swing thing that you got going on if you do the other way, you know, with high sugar, high salt, high whatever else foods, or you know, and with drinking, you know, there's a lot of alcohol contents that give you that euphoric emotion, but also all the sugars and everything that's in there, and then you have the down plus the hangovers. You know, instead of doing that, I'm going to have you know, non-alcoholic beverage maybe, or you can get that non-alcoholic substitutes now anyway. I mean, I don't know how good they are, and you know, check the contents, I would say, but maybe that you swap it out for a healthier kind of drink and associate different things. So like, you know that you like walking with friends, instead of going out on the booze that night, why don't you say, hey, why don't you meet me after work for a walk around the lake? And now by the time that you've done that, the desire to overdrink and hit the pub's gone, and you know, you've handled it in a healthy way. So put on different shoes that are actually going to be more applicable and healthy for you. So it is awareness. You know, what's my trigger? What caused me to get all stressed? What shoes, you know, would I normally have tended to do to cope with that situation? I would have put my party boots on, or my drinking boots on, or my eating boots on, or shoes on, you know, overeating shoes or eating the wrong kind of stuff. But instead, I'm going to put these shoes on instead. So it's a conscious decision. I'm going to step in these shoes over here. I'm now going to eat more healthy. I'm actually going to put my exercise shoes on, you know, my trainers on, and go for a walk or a run with my friends, you know. So I'm getting, you know, a double win, because I'm getting great company, I'm getting exercise at the same time, and I'm cancelling out the old way of doing something. So, you know, it takes a little time, you know. It all starts with awareness. Like I've said before, you've got to know what shoes you are wearing, how you actually operate, which is what this is all about. How do I understand myself? How do I change the way that I'm, you know, if I can't fix something if I don't know it's, you know, what's going wrong. You know, you got to understand what the problem is, or the issue might be, in order to be able to change it, right? And you know, identifying that is critical. So what are the triggers? What makes you feel like you want to be overeating, over drinking, and then making those conscious decisions of stepping out of those shoes and into a pair that are actually going to work for you. So that's a couple of examples right there. Breathing techniques, changing your state with your physiological, you know, just to recap, we've done physical change, we've done breathing, we've also spoken about changing, you know, not falling into the trap of having negative state changing shoes on, such as overeating, over drinking. We've looked at the breathing side, if I haven't covered that already, and you know, there's all these techniques as well that I've mentioned before that you can go into your emotional toolkit, where you will be able to go, right, I'm struggling to get on top of that one, so I'm going to do some of, you know, Vicky's tapping techniques that she suggested, or eye movement techniques with EMDR, or I'm going to do a breathing techniques. And you know, it's a one-off purchase, and it's going to change your life and other people's lives whenever they need it. My goal is to get this out to as many people as possible, especially ladies. I think, you know, we just need to get more empowered across the planet. You know, I really want to, dare I say, I'm flying in the face a little bit of a lot of the social media stuff, which is all about, you know, we're not good enough, we're not, we're just not enough, you know, you're not pretty enough, you need to change the way that you are, you need to be something different in order to be loved. I mean, I think that's all just, excuse my language, crap. It's just crap, you know, and I just want to say, no, that's not how it is. And to empower lovely women across the board, and men if they want to, I mean, if they're game, you know, it doesn't have to be like that. Let's change it. Let's make a difference now. Let's get our own shoes on, shoes that you know, suit you, get you on a path that works for you, doing it your way with a whole group of like-minded, wonderful women just like you. And I congratulate you for coming back and sticking with it, because there's only 8% of the entire world that will follow through. And if you've made it this far, it just shows that you're on your game, you know, and you're committed, and I honor that. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again. Hey, thank you so much. Namaste.